So you could go ahead and grab your mat. You go ahead and grab a notebook, something to write with, to make notes. This is going to be the first day that we really just start going into, the different benefits to activations of each thing that we go through. So you can really understand why we're going through it. You know what I mean? And what does it really look like for you without someone being on the mat? And if I just call out a name, do you know how to go into that? Or are we just still reliant on Sematawika and his body on here? You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be quite interesting. And yes, I'm planning to share this. So all of your joyful moments will be seen by others. But if you don't want it to be shared, then let me know. I'm waiting for the hand to raise. I'm waiting. Okay, that's what's up. Thank you for allowing the evolution of others through your fuck ups. But yes, Ujara, let's go ahead and come on to our mat. And Terry, make sure I see you nice and clear. So if you need to bring me a little further back. Yeah, right there. That looks nice. Okay, lovely. So, Terry, let me see you go through Ujara. Just gonna see you do one round, see what it looks like, and then I'm gonna verbally instruct. You could just start going through Ujara yourself. She's going through. So at the same time, while Terry's going through Ujara, Emily's gonna come on here, and Emily's gonna be going through it as well. If anybody's watching this on a replay, you should be doing the movement, not just sitting down watching. If you're wondering why everything is silent right now, because we're going through the movements. Terry's going through her own movements, and Emily's going through the movements. So you as well, you should be going through Ujara yourself without waiting for my verbal instructions and without looking at the person on the screen and just mimicking what they're doing. Even if you miss a particular movement, don't worry about it. Just go ahead do what you know, off head. All right, that was lovely. That was lovely, Terry. I'll hold that down to wait on my additional commentary till Emily's done with her round. Shay, lovely as well. Yeah. So yeah, I really liked yours. I really liked yours, Terry. You had a lot of you had your own things in there as well. You know, it wasn't exactly what I do. You had your own flow to it, and I like that. Do you know what I mean? That's what you felt like doing. You went with it, but you were still like you still had the sequence. So yeah, that was nice. Main thing that I see in yours, is you had a lot of stopping and sticking points. Do you know what I mean? What we want to try to do is, as we're going through the movements, through one movement to another, through one pose to another, just have a nice fluid movement. So even when you're lowering yourself coming down, you're not just doing it real abrupt, like, and then just dropping your foot back, like, you know, everything is with care, right? I'm just being easy of how I maneuver or balance or redistribute my weights. So even if I'm coming down, soften up, place my hands down nice, step back nice and controlled, and step back lightly. Step back lightly. Now I'm right here. Even if I inhale coming up, everything is a nice fluid movement. So I'm not just dropping my hands or dropping my feet hard. So we're going to go through that right now and try to apply that, right? So go ahead and come to the front of your mat. Inhale, raise the arms into Tekken. Exhale, Sema. Inhale, pushing forward and up, pyramid. Bend the legs, fold forward. Stepping back into a low plank. Let's go into low plank first, since it activates the biceps and the muscles in the chest. Let's go ahead and roll forward onto the front of the feet into Arat, lifting up the chest and the head. Go ahead and lift the knees away from the ground, Terry. Yeah. And exhale, lower yourself, low plank. Roll back onto the toes. Control it. Inhale, pyramid. Lift the butt up first. Press back. Control it. So we don't want to be moving fast and then slow, fast and then slow. We want it to have a constant flow as we change from one to the next. Bend the legs. Inhale, step forward with the left foot. So when you step forward, you bend the leg too much, Terry. Try to shift your foot a little bit forward more. Yeah, just a little bit. So if I was on the sideline of you, I'll be looking at those three limbs and I want to see them in line. So that ankle is always directly underneath the knee. Unless it feels better for you moving a little bit forward or back, but that's a good base. Go ahead and drop the knee. Inhale, dua. Exhale, duat. Inhale, dua. Exhale, geb. Stepping back into plank, controlled. So look, Terry, I want you to do that again. Go back into dua. Put the knee down. When you step back into plank, no, so go ahead and keep your hands down in line with the knees, in line with the feet. So when I say stepping back into plank, you're going to slowly lift that knee away from the ground, but don't have your butt all the way up. You want to already be mimicking the pose for plank. So don't lift your butt all the way up, right? So the hands are already positioned, the hands are locked out. Then you're going to lift that leg and then slowly go ahead and draw the other leg back. Nice, right there. So you're already set into plank. Lovely. And with the inhale, nice and fluid, coming up into pyramid. As you're coming up, you're pressing through the hands at the same time. A lot of times I don't say to readjust the hands, but I like to readjust my hands from me going from plank into pyramid, and I separate the hands a little further apart. So I get more of an opening within the shoulders. And when I press down, I feel more of a stretch kind of in the front line of my chest. Spreading the fingers. It's the same thing. I'm pressing through that diagonal line, lifting the hips and drawing the navel in towards the spine. Doing the best to press the heels down. If you need to step the feet forward, do so. If the legs are too tight, so early in the morning, even if I don't instruct it, bend one leg, then straighten out the other. Bend one leg and straighten out the other. You can always go into this. You don't have to just hold it. Don't wait or expect me to give you all the instructions. This is your body. I'm just giving you some recipes, and it's up to you to see how to put it together. Bend the legs. So you're bending the legs now, but you're still pushing back. So you're still pressing through those hands, right? The arms are still straight. The hips are still high, but there's a bend in the legs. So the heels are lifting away from the ground. So if I'm looking at Emily here, I could see a nice diagonal line still from her hands directly up into her hips. So this will give you a nice spring to leap forward. As you bend the legs, let's go ahead and step or jump forward. And now let's go ahead and step or jump back, right back into low plank. We're gonna do this 4 more times. Go ahead, carry on. So let your transitions be nice and smooth. Don't start shifting from fast to slow, fast to slow. So for those that are jumping forward, try to just redistribute the weight onto the hands. I think maybe on Wednesday, we're just going to just practice just jumps, just more explosive things. So it's your choice whether you decide to do the jumps or you just step forward. And then when you finish, go ahead and jump forward. Exhale, fold, allow the head to drop. Hold in pyramid, inhale, coming all the way up and standing. And then exhale, pyramid to first eye, bending back. Inhale up into Tekken. Exhale, Sema. And release. All right. We're going to have both of y'all go into the next one, which is the back rock. I'm just going to say it, and you go into it. Back rock, 9 times. On your 9th time, stay upright. So within this back rock, you start going into the Geb phase, all right? So this posture improves digestion and elimination, especially when done in the morning after the rising. It works well for massaging the lower back, spine, and the buttocks. Contraindications for this, not to be performed by those with serious back conditions, right? So we're going to start again, placing the hands onto the knees, and around the back, roll the shoulders in, chin to the chest, leave enough space in between the knees for the head. And we're going to inhale, rolling back, and then exhale, rolling forward, out of the mouth. So it's an empty breath as you come out, as you come forward. So when doing this, we want to do our best to keep the legs bent all the way through. Because if you rock back and then you straighten your legs and you rock back, you're missing some of the spine. Just by straightening out your legs, you're not rolling yourself out complete. So you want to be able to rock it out. So massage the complete spine, whole vertebrae. Right? Let's go into the leg raises, point and flex. So once again, those on the replay, you're just hearing what I'm saying and you're just doing what you think it is. Don't wait to see what the other person's doing. This is the time for you to go into it yourself, to get familiar with what type of breath you feel that you should be utilizing here, right? What muscles are activated? Are you creating tension in an area where you shouldn't have it right now? What muscles are required to lift those feet off the ground? So I want you to aim for this nine times. This movement improves core strength, balance, stability, and it brings considerable benefits for the strength and flexibility of your hips, your lower back, and also like those persistent problems of those areas for those people sitting at a desk for long periods of times. Though the back muscles are not the focus of this exercise, any abdominal and core exercises work to provide increased support for the back. So as well as going into our point and flex, right? That's for stiff ankles, tight calves, and even tight calves could lead to lower back problems. Incorporating pointing and flexing exercises for your feet into your weekly workouts. This is a great way to help you make your feet feel better. Just going into your ankle mobility or ankle arm flexibility, as well as foot. Okay. So once you start to focus on this a little more, then that will definitely help you to ease off some of the pressure onto the lower back and probably heal from any lower back discomfort you may be experiencing. By training good functional movements of the foot and avoiding bad habits to point and flex, you can reduce the risk of foot and ankle injuries, alleviate chronic and foot pain problems, and ensure that you are properly stretching and strengthening the ankle, heel, and arches to keep your feet and your whole body 100% healthy. So contraindications for this asana should not be practiced by those who are infirm, suffering from hernia, sciatica, or slip disc. If you do have sciatica and you know that these movements help you with it, it's proven to yourself, then yeah, carry on. But like these contraindications, like it's really for people that are unaware. They know that they have these things, but they're unaware of what they're able to do or not able to do. You know, what makes their ailment worse or lessens it. So once you start learning these things, then you don't have to pay so much attention to these contraindications. But it's good to know them at first. So after you do that, just rest and relax. So if I'm going into it now, so the breath. So you want to have your hands alongside the body. Don't have your hands too far away from the hips, because then you automatically start to rely a little bit too much on the hands and the shoulders and pressing those into the ground to lift your legs away from the floor. So bring the hands closer towards the hips. I'm pulling my shoulders away from my ears, drawing down towards my feet, right? Hands are pressing down. I have those fingers spread. Every time I always practice spreading the fingers. You know what I mean? Spreading the fingers. These are great pointers that I got from Iyengar teachers and different initiations went into, but it just creates a larger base altogether. And it gets us more active of using all the muscles in our hands, in our fingers all together, because it's all for support. Bringing your feet together, flex your feet. And sometimes I instructed with a different breath, but right now I really want to focus on strengthening the core. So I want you to do an exhale as you're lifting the legs up. So completely empty once you get to the top. So if you need to fasten that breath up, then do so. And then inhale coming down. I'm gonna do it two different ways for different activations. So keep that moving. It's always an exhale as you come up. For those that are on a different fitness level, don't bring the feet all the way down. Keep the feet about 5 to 10 inches off the ground. If you've been lowering your legs all the time, start to practice lifting the feet up. You know, different level of intensity, more resistance. Building the area. We don't just want to remain at the same point. Like if you're dealing with a weak core and you have issues from a weak core, then we need to make sure that the exercises that we do are progressive. So now I want you to go ahead and lower your legs. And what you're going to do, you're going to exhale before you lift the feet. So exhale, complete empty breath, and then lift the feet all the way up. So when you exhale, I want you to hold that breath so you stay emptied and lift the feet up. And then keep going up and down, up and down. Bring the feet up and down as long as you can without taking another breath. So you're still emptied while you're bringing the feet up and down. Some of you could hold your breath longer on that empty, and maybe you might get 3 repetitions. So you're just activating or just utilizing the core. You're not relying on any air in your body or pressing your hands down to lift. It's just a straight core, straight transversal abdominals. So if you feel that you inhaled a little bit, you know what I mean? Bring your feet back down, completely empty yourself. Once you're emptied, hold that. Keep that navel pressed all the way in, and then go ahead and get as many repetitions as you can while holding that breath. So just the difference in the type of breathing that we're doing and when we're lifting the legs, holding the breath, that allows us to get more out of the movement. So if you've been going through this and you've been saying that you haven't been developing any additional strength into your core from this, start approaching it this way. Always empty. Even if you hear me instructed differently on a different day, just always empty, just for yourself, and just get as many repetitions as you can. You don't have to work in reps of 10 as well. Even if I say, you hear me say 10, but you know you could do 15, go ahead and get 15 in. And then once we move on to the next exercise, then you jump in. But you could always squeeze in a little extra. If you know that you're the type that, okay, Sematawika, I don't want to practice any of this stuff when you're not here. Cool. No judgment, then get it in now. All right, let's go ahead into our bridge. We're gonna do that 5 times. Whatever you think that is. Even though it's easy enough for you to just look at the screen and see what Terry's doing or Emily's doing, try not to. When you hear bridge, what does that mean to you? Like, okay, you've been here for a few months. What does that look like? Let me go ahead and work on my mind as well, because you just looking at what's being done all the time is not you strengthening your mind as a muscle or your brain. So just keep going through that. The bridge. Start giving you some of these pictures as well. So yeah, the bridge. So this pose can be utilized to realign the spine, correcting rounding shoulders, and relieving backaches. It massages and stretches the colon and abdominal organs, which improves digestion. So while I'm reading these things, I want you to be feeling it or see if you could feel it. Does it make sense? You know, you just said this pose can be utilized to realign the spine, correcting the rounding of shoulders, and relieving backaches. I wonder why. It massages and strengthens the colon and abdominal organs. You feel that as you're lifting, you're opening the front line of the body. And this improves digestion. It tones the female reproductive organs and is useful for women who have a tendency to miscarry, for the management of menstrual disorders, prolapse, asthma, and various bronchial and thyroid conditions. So if you're dealing with any of these things I'm not aware of, but you are obviously, then you may want to do more of this, right? Because each of these things that we do, they do have their own physical and energetic benefit. But it makes sense for you to know what ailments that you're dealing with, so you know which things to do more of. If you're dealing with menstrual disorders, prolapse, asthma, if these things, you want to strengthen those reproductive organs, then yeah, I hear bridge. All right. So as far as the alignment on it, the hands are right outside the body. The shoulders are pulling down. Doing your best to have your ankles right under your knee. Unless once you lift up, if you bring your feet a little bit forward or a little more back, you're able to go up a little more. Then go ahead and make the adjustments for yourself, right? But when you get all the way to the top, it's an inhale as you lift. And once I get to the top, then I go ahead and press my hands down a little bit just to get a little bit more out of the lift as I go ahead and contract the muscles in the calves, the thighs, the quadriceps, and the glutes. So let's inhale coming up. So inhale, lift the hips away from the ground, come into the bridge. So place your hands right outside the hips. We're holding this right now. Pull your feet back. Separate the feet a little bit. Always see what different things feel like in the poses. If you're always doing the same positioning, see what different things feel like. Move your feet around, move your hands around. Let me see how this feels. Now, while you're right here, I want you to try to twist your pelvis to the left a little bit. Still while pressing down through the feet. Then go ahead and twist your pelvis to the right a little bit. Still while pressing through the feet, still while pressing through the hands. Just go ahead and feel that movement through. Just keep going from one side to the next. Realize that everything is connections within the body. If I don't press down through my foot completely and I'm rotating, going towards the side, I'm going to miss out on something. But as soon as I start getting these other activations, this chain connection lined up, then I start opening other areas. I start feeling other things because I'm connecting to other tendons, other areas in the body. I'm stretching particular fascia that I didn't. All right. Coming down out of it. And you could go ahead and pull the knees in towards the chest and give yourself a big embrace. Wrap those arms around the knees. And then we're going into shoulder stand and plow. Let's go. I don't want you to hold it at any time, but I want you to go through it twice. Just go through the movement. I'm not worried about you holding it. Just go through the movement. Shoulder stand and plow. This is another pose with many benefits. By pressing the chest against the chin, this is an asana that stimulates the thyroid gland. Generally, it balances out circulatory, respiratory, digestive, reproductive, nervous, and endocrine systems. It tranquilizes the mind, relieves mental and emotional stress, and helps clear psychological disturbances, boosting the immune system. Very important. This inversion drains stagnant blood and fluid, increasing circulation and energy flow into one's body. Performed in the morning, the shoulder stand relieves fatigue caused by sleeping too much or too little. And when practiced in the evening, it helps to promote deep, restful sleep. Contraindications. This asana shouldn't be practiced by those suffering from enlarged thyroid, liver, spleen, cervical or spondylitis, slip disc, high blood pressure, and or other heart ailments, weak blood vessels in the eyes, thrombosis, or impure blood. It should be avoided. You see, and this is something, I wrote this a long time ago, probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now. And at that time, I believed that it should be avoided by women that are on their menstrual cycle, because that's what I was always taught, right? Yeah, women had to avoid it. They had to avoid it, and that's more of I guess the old way still seeping through when we didn't have quite enough information or access to all the information that we have now. You know, I feel like this is a great for women to do that on their menstrual cycle. You know what I mean? Any movement that you could get in is lovely. Any movement that you're actually able to get in while you're on your cycle, depending on how you feel. Yes, you could do it. It's always necessary to shift stagnant blood through one's body. Whether you're on your cycle or you're not, whether you're a woman or not, it doesn't matter. You know, moving and fluid going through the body, circulation is very important. Very important. So yes, if you are a regular practitioner of this, yeah, keep on practicing it while you're on your cycle. If you're able to. If it's one of those times that I just can't practice it, then fine. But now it's going into it. We're gonna have hands alongside the body, feet together. Inhale, raising the legs up. Exhale, dropping the knees to the chest. Inhale, lifting the butt away from the ground, hands onto the lower back. Pull the shoulders down, make sure the elbows are pressing down into Geb. Draw the elbows closer to the body. So see, Terry, separate your hands on your back a little more. Yeah. And go ahead and inhale, straighten the legs all the way up. So as I'm straightening my legs all the way up, I'm pressing my hands into my back more, moving my hips closer to the face, but I'm pulling the feet away from the face, trying to shoot upward. And then exhale, flex the feet, lower the legs down. So you're listening to the body. It's not just, oh, I got to bring my feet down to the ground. It's no, just let them go down little by little. If you're comfortable in the pose, you can release your hands from the back. Not holding you at all. Bring the hands to the back. Go ahead and raise the legs up. And go ahead and shift the hands from the back to the side of the thighs. Slide the body through the hands, one vertebrae at a time. Lower yourself all the way down. So that was actually 2 moves in one. You know, it's a shoulder. We did the shoulder stand, and then we did the plow. So you always see them together, but there are actually 2 separate poses. You know what I mean? So we're going to go into the spider. Let's go ahead. If they're chopping you up, you don't have to stay down there. Okay. So yeah, I know in traditional systems, they call this the wheel, but I'm not traditional. So we call it the spider, damn it. And spider makes more sense. As you coming into this Geb phase, Geb deals with the earth. It represents grounding. You know what I mean? This does not look like a wheel to me. A wheel is completely round all the way around. I'm not doing a wheel. We're not doing wheels. You know what I mean? But a spider is low and close to the ground and presses up like this. You know what I mean? So if this is Smai-Tawi and it's loosely based off Kemetic, right? Then we always look in nature. We look in nature and then we make sense of what we see in nature, right? So to me, that looks like a spider, not a wheel. All right, so we're going to do this together. So you want to start with your feet hip width apart, unless you need to go wider, right? My ankles are already in line with my knees. This is just base instructions. You know, if you've been in it a lot of times and you have different adjustments, then do it. Now go ahead, raise the arms up. Even though I'm raising my arms up, the shoulders are still pulling towards the ground. Exhale, bend, and lower the hands. The hands are right underneath the shoulders, fingers pointing towards the toes. Spread the fingers, creating a nice wide base. If your elbows are already bowing out to the side, bring those elbows more in line with the shoulders. Look at what your knees are doing. Like Terry, your knees are buckling in. Keep your knees already in line with your feet, so everything's in line. And then take your time. Some people press all the way up. That's fine. I like people to go one part at a time, so you can see how you feel. So let's go ahead and lift the hips up first. Just the hips. Yep. Keep that activation going. Then go ahead, gently press into the hands. Go ahead and come onto the crown. Nice and easy. So you want to make sure we go up in a straight line, right? Then inhale, press all the way up. So press equally through the hands, or through the arms and the legs. That's it. And then bring the chin to the chest. Keep the chin to the chest and lower yourself to your upper back. You see, Terry, you're shifting too forward to come down. That's why your knees are all the way here. You try to drop down into your line. What happens is you're still pressing through your hands while you're bending your legs, and it's shifting your whole body forward. So try to bend your arms at the same time you're bending your legs and just come down in the same line that you came up in. We're gonna try that one more time. Go ahead and place your hands back into position. Let's go ahead and skip all our arms alongside the body. Bring the hands back into position, ready to press up into spider. Go ahead and lift the hips. Come onto the crown and press all the way up. Nice. Now bring the chin to the chest. Think about that straight line. Bring the arms down. Don't press forward. That was much better. Yeah. That's it. You can do it. Just need to be aware of the body as it moves through space, right? What they call that proprioception. Go ahead and release any tension that you may have accumulated within the wrists by rotating the hands. Let's go ahead and do this one more time. Take your time with it. Based on how you went into the last few, see what you need to focus on a little bit more and apply it here. Many people have naturally flexible spines. They don't have the internal lock control and leg strength required for back bends though. The emphasis now is stretching and lengthening your quadriceps, opening your groin, abdomen, and chest. You're focused on stretching the front rather than the back of the body. This pose is great for spinal nourishment once achieved. It strengthens the legs and is beneficial to the nervous, digestive, respiratory, cardiovascular, and glandular systems. It also influences all the hormonal secretions. Contraindications: the wheel pose should not be practiced by people with any illness, weak wrists, weak back, and generally feeling tired. I'll say pregnant women that have not practiced this before getting pregnant should not start practicing it while they're pregnant. Whatever you were doing before you were pregnant, carry on doing. If you're doing kettlebells, if you're working out, if you're doing swims, whatever, keep on doing all that stuff. That's going to be great and beneficial for the pregnancy, for you and the baby, right? So don't just think that, okay, no, I'm pregnant, that's it, I need to just stay at home and do nothing. I understand in the first trimester, yeah, you feel like shit. Cool, yeah, of course. You can't do nothing when you feel like shit. But after that and you start feeling good again, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and cycle. Go ahead and do your things. Obviously with more caution, but don't feel like you just have to be like, just trapped in a dark room for the whole pregnancy. That's that old stuff that you got to do away with. You know what I mean? And any yoga teacher or fitness fitness person that's teaching that is wrong, just completely wrong. All right, let's go ahead into the fish of Ra. Fish of Ra, go ahead. Once you go ahead into it, and just hold that pose once you're in it, and just breathe through it. Fish of Ra. This pose is useful for all abdominal ailments as it stretches the intestines and abdominal organs. To remove constipation, drink 3 glasses of water and then perform this pose. It also relieves inflamed or bleeding piles, which is hemorrhoids. This posture is great for asthma and bronchitis as it encourages deep respiration. It recirculates stagnant blood in the back and alleviates back aches. It regulates the blood in the back, and this way also regulates the function of the thyroid gland and stimulates the thymus gland, boosting the immune system. Contraindications: people who suffer from heart disease, peptic ulcers, hernia, back conditions, or any serious illness should not practice this, right? Unless you're working with someone that is learned in it, trained in it, and they suggest otherwise because you've been working with them. All right, coming out of it. So coming into it, we're gonna bring our feet together. Hands alongside the body. Inhale, go ahead and come up onto the elbows and the forearms. Go ahead and place the hands on the side of the body, just holding there. Go ahead and point the feet away. Drop the elbows down into Geb. Drop the shoulders. Shoulders are pulling down. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, slowly drop the crown back. All the way until the crown touches Geb. So majority of the weight should be balanced on the forearms and the elbows, not supported by the neck. You should feel a nice stretch in the neck as well. Shouldn't be a compression. So you shouldn't have the shoulders scrunched up towards the ears. Everything should be free. Shoulders should be drawing open. Chest should be drawing open. If you feel like you're causing too much tension on the arms or really contracting the muscles in the arms and the biceps, soften that up. Now press the tongue on the roof of the mouth and slowly inhale, lifting the head just in line with the vertebrae. Don't bring the head all the way forward. And exhale, lower yourself down slowly. Let's inhale, raise the arms all the way up. Exhale, folding forward. Let's keep going through that movement. I want you to come all the way down from a laying down position. So the difference of us doing it just upright or just laying down to upright is what? One is going to be more intensity as far as for the core. One is going to require more core strength than the other. If you're all the way upright already and you're just folding forward, that's a good relief from the lower back. But if we're coming down to up, which is natural function of the body, you know, then that improves overall core strength. Put this on. Where's your, you don't have a top. That's your only top. Keep your top on. This asana stretches the hamstring muscles and increases flexibility in the hip joints. It tones and massages the entire abdominal and pelvic region, including the liver, pancreas, spleen, urogenital systems, the kidneys, and adrenal glands. It helps to remove excess weight in these areas and stimulates circulation to the nerves, muscles, and the muscles of the spine. Contraindications: people who suffer from slip disc, sciatica, hernia should not practice this pose unless working with someone for a while and you have built yourself up to a level where now you can practice these. A lot of times people see these contraindications and like, you know, on different things, and they're like, okay, that's it, I can't do it. I'm gonna rule it out. That's it. But no, it's there for you to know, like, hey, you got to really take care because you already have an issue with these. But if you're working with someone closely, then yes, the whole idea is to build yourself up to a level where you can start to incorporate these things. All right, let's go into the wedge. See here. Yeah, go ahead into the wedge, Terry. It's hard for me to tell, but if the hands aren't directly, or the hands or the wrist aren't directly underneath the shoulders, go ahead and try to get them there. Because sometimes you could have your hands too far back. So it's like how I start already. Once I start upright, I know my hands are already in line with my shoulders, and then I just lift my hips as much as I can while stretching the legs and pointing the feet. And then exhale, dropping the head. Again, that whole front line. So I'm dropping the head, I start to feel that stretch all the way into my throat. So go ahead and try to hold that for at least 2 breaths, and then come out of it, and then do it one more time. So go into it twice. This poses similar benefits to the wheel, generally strengthening the shoulders, thighs, wrists, and also tones the lumbar region of the spine and the Achilles tendons. This should not be practiced by those with high blood pressure, heart disease, cervical spondylosis, hernia, stomach ulcers, or weak wrists. Keep on forgetting to come back and give y'all pictures of it. But so there's different variations. So that's the regular one. That's the one that we do. But this is also the other one for those people that want something a little bit easier. You could just do tabletop, that one as well. All right. Let's go into the Geb spinal twist. This is one of my favorites. So we go ahead into the Geb spinal twist. Let's go ahead and do both sides. And then I'll instruct after. This half spinal twist is one of the best yoga postures for cultivating flexibility and strength in the spine. It soothes stiff neck and upper back tension caused by stress, poor posture, or prolonged periods of sitting in one position. It tones the nerves of the spine, makes the back muscles supple, relieves lumbago and muscular spasms, and reduces the tendency of adjoining vertebrae to develop inflammatory problems and calcium deposits. It massages the abdominal organs, alleviating digestive ailments. It regulates the secretions of the adrenal gland, liver, pancreas, and is beneficial for the kidneys. Contraindications: pregnant women should avoid this. We understand why, unless you've been doing it already. But this could be something that is uncomfortable for baby. So yes, obviously, right? Well, maybe not obviously. People suffering from peptic ulcers, hernia, but even just saying that pregnant women should not avoid this. They should modify it, because that knee that you're going over, all of a sudden you could just drop that knee off to the side and you could adjust a hold. You could adjust a hold where your belly is still free, and you're not taking away anything from that area, right? So yes, modify, not avoid. And if you don't have anyone around you that is trained that is experienced to deal with pregnant women, then you should seek out a pregnancy yoga teacher. Right. So what does that look like? So now let's go ahead and go through that again. So we're going to start from upright. Start from upright. No, just upright position. Legs extended in front of you. Let's go ahead and bend the left leg. Bend the left leg until that left foot is at the midpoint of the right knee. Inhale, raise the right arm all the way up. Place that left hand behind you towards the middle of the back on the ground. So I'm reaching up high. If I feel like that back hand is too close to me, I move it back a little bit. And then exhale as I twist, rotating towards the left. Lower that hand on the outside of the left knee. Already have that right hand pointed towards the front foot. Flex the front foot. Inhale. Exhale, rotating towards the left. So turning the head all the way behind you. So using that arm to press against that knee. So I go a little bit into the rotation more. That front foot and that back hand should be in the same line. And as I'm going into the breath, I keep that length through the spine, through the upper torso. And I exhale, trying to twist a little bit more, drawing in. As I inhale, raise that right arm up, looking forward. Exhale, lower both limbs. Go ahead and switch sides. So you're doing the other leg now. Same thing. Inhale, raise the arm up. Place the back hand towards the center of the mat behind you. Exhale, lower the limb. You rotate towards the other side now. Flex that front foot. That hand is reaching towards the front foot. You inhale, exhale, rotating, going into a twist. And sometimes I start from the navel, start from like lower lumbar, and I get a rotation there. And then just keep flowing through the breath. Then maybe a breath or two later, I start working my way up, see if I could get a turn in the vertebrae as it goes higher up towards my spine, right? Towards the top of my spine. So if I start in the lumbar, then I work on that rotation, going more into this next area up. I just forgot right now. This next area of the spine coming up. No, off of the lumbar. Thoracic. That's right, there you go. So working into your thoracic. And then when you get all the twist in that area that you can, without forcing yourself, like, you know what I mean? Just going into that. Then exhale, going all the way towards the top into your cervical. And once I get to the cervical, then I make sure I get that last turn in the head. So I'll work my way upward. All right, coming out of that, let's go into the transition phase. This is the last one that we're going to go into today. So we're just going to go into Adat. So go ahead into Adat. I want you to go into Adat. You're going to go into this about 3 times. All right. So just show you a picture of last one we did. Give spinal twist. All right. All right. And now we're going into the transition phase. Transition phase also represents the animal deities. You know, in one particular time, it was taught this whole animalistic nature stuff. You know what I mean? I don't feel like getting into all that, but I have a new spin on that. We'll go into that another day. But we're going into the cobra. This asana strengthens the arms, shoulders, and is especially good for stiff backs. This pose is perfect for improving and deepening breathing. It can help to improve backaches and keep the spine supple and healthy. It tones the ovaries and the uterus. It also helps in menstrual and gynecological disorders. It stimulates the appetite, alleviates constipation, and is beneficial for all the abdominal organs, especially the liver and kidneys. In addition, this pose stretches the thoracic region and expands the rib cage, bringing relief from the conditions that impact the lung capacity, such as asthma. Contraindications: people suffering from peptic ulcers, hernia, intestinal tuberculosis. That's about it. All right. Oh yeah, and this definitely shouldn't be performed. It shouldn't be performed if you just had like any type of surgery in your abdominal area within the stomach. Like no, C-section, stuff like that. Like no, stay away from that. All right. So coming into this, we're gonna have our feet together, pointing our feet, elbows tucked along to the side of the body. Already looking at where my hands are, hands right under the shoulders. So if you're looking at me right now, I'll try to have it like this. So you see my hands are in line with my elbow already. Boom. Shoulders are pulling down. Even if I have to readjust my hands as I come up, cool, but just start like that. So inhale, lifting up the chest, pushing away from the ground. Keep the elbows down. So I always say, if you feel like you can move your elbows forward more to lift your chest even higher, then do so. No, but keep the elbows down. So move your elbows more forward, Terry, because I know you can lift your chest further away from the ground. Move your elbows more forward. And lift the chest, lift the chest, lift the chest, lift the chest, lift the chest. So you want to lift the chest as much as you can while keeping your elbows down. Because even though we started off like this, once you come up, you know, like, okay, hold on. If I shift my elbows just a little bit forward, I get more of a lift. So I get more into that thoracic spine. Right? This is what I'm doing here with Emily right now. So watch. If you're watching the screen, just go back into it. So even though you started like this, yeah. If Emily just came up right here, go ahead and come up from here, Emily. See, this is all that she would get. But as soon as she shifts forward, you see that? She just got another 2 inches of lift.
And it feels better.
And it feels better. You know, so you probably feel more of a stretch in the abdominal area. You feel more of an opening in the lumbar. Pull the shoulders down, opening the chest, and you're just holding right here. But you're also pressing active through the hands. Through the hands, elbows are drawing down. And you think the legs are just dangling behind you? No, you're pointing the feet and extending the legs back. So, go ahead. And you're clenching the glutes. It's deep with the body. Like, whatever you do on one side, on one part of the body, like the opposite side, like the next side, the opposite thing happens. So for her, she's clenching her glutes right now. That's great. That causes the front line, the pelvis, to open up. Right. Also press down. That's right. Good point. Pressing down as well. If I'm pressing my pelvis into the ground, as I'm pressing my elbows down to the ground, I get a nice lift. I finish out that nice chain connection that I want. The chain, starting from the feet. So we're not just thinking about, oh, I'm just pressing up, thinking that it's just a lumbar movement. No, it's a complete body movement. Right. So this is us. This is us for today. So we're stopping right here, and then next, what is it on? I don't know what. On Friday we're gonna carry on right from here on the next one.